welcome to the Chelsea Skidmore Show. I'm here today with my guest, KC Maloney, a.k.a. Adult Karate, musician, friend, incredible hair, creative genius, and excellent editor. KC.
Hi, how are you? Do you really think my hair looks good today?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. She said incredible hair. I was insecure about my hair when I left the house today.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't ever think too much about hair, but I was I wasn't feeling well this morning and I got ready really quick. So.
Were you feeling sick?
Yeah, I was stomach issues. Yeah.
How did you feel about me saying AKA?
Great.
Adult.
Yeah. Also known as Adult Karate. That's factually correct.
KC, yes.
Also known as Adult Karate.
And you're a musician.
I am a musician, yes.
How would we define the genre?
If it was me, I would say kind of indie-leaning electronic music. But I don't know. I mean, I'm always doing different stuff. But probably more accurately, someone online described it as kind of like Depeche Mode, but with house music influences.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. I mean, I love Depeche Mode. I grew up listening to Depeche Mode, so that, I take that as a compliment. But I don't know. I just, it's a cliche thing to say for in any art form, but I don't necessarily want to be boxed into having to do something, a particular style or whatever.
Yeah. I think that's what's so cool about you guys is that there's so many different. I just got nervous because I was like, I'm about to have to fake that I'm a music journalist.
Don't fake it. Just be natural and ask the questions the people that would
I got nervous right there. I was on the ledge. I think what's so different is about your sound, and then I was looking over a 50,000-foot drop and was like, I don't know where to go after this.
Yeah, I mean, just...
It's eclectic?
I guess.
No?
I like to think so. I don't know. I mean, it's for the listener to decide, really. I think every person who does something creative has their own idea, their own idealized idea of what they do in their head, but, when it's on someone listening to it on the other side, they'll be like, oh, it's Depeche Mode, but with house music influences. And, I don't necessarily, I don't know. It's good. That's a good comparison. So,
I was watching this documentary on Netflix called The Creative Brain, where they were talking about how music should always be evolving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's 100%.
I had nothing after that.
No, I mean, that's the same can be said for any art form. I find it kind of sad when, in this case, music, musicians, I don't know. I don't know anything about Lil Nas X, there's
too many Lils.
Yeah.
How many Lils are there today?
I don't know. But in any case, I know he has the hit right now, Old Town Road.
I don't. I'm not sure.
I've listened to maybe 20 seconds of it. Nothing against the song or whatever. It is very popular for a reason because I assume it's good. But it's just I see him, really pushing the whole country meets hip hop kind of thing. And I legitimately was reading an article earlier about him, and I got worried for him. Even though I don't know him and I don't really, I'm not really into the music, but I got worried because it's don't go too hard on the country thing. You're going to box yourself in and you're setting yourself up to be, a thing of the moment, a one-hit wonder or whatever, because, people will so hardcore associate you with this one thing you did that you're kind of trapped and you kind of, you don't really have anywhere to go from that. So, but I mean, if I was in his position, I would probably capitalize on it too. I don't know, but
so it's going too far. It's too genre bending, and you're saying stay somewhere in the middle.
Well, no, I'm saying genre bending.
I don't know
I
the
think
song.
Is good. It's
Example.
It's it's new style hip hop, but with country stuff into it. Is the big thing that how it came to be was that how it came to my attention was that it was on the country Billboard charts, and I think they took it off the country Billboard charts, probably because so many, true, down home country fans complained that like, why is this black guy on our charts? That's the way I saw it. But like, but in any case, like, I worried about him getting, even though I don't know him and he might be a jerk, I don't know. But I worried about him getting boxed into a thing where he's only known for this one thing, and then he has, it'd be so hard to break away from that once you've established this so hardcore. So, I think with any musician or artist, you got to take advantage of things as they come along, but also not box yourself in so that you won't be able to have a future doing this thing. So that's why, like, when people, on a much smaller level talk about my music as being a very specific thing, like, it's great on one hand, but at the same time, it worries me. Like, I don't want to become known for this one thing. I want to be able to be the type of, like, musician like David Bowie or Beck or someone who can continually try a new thing every time and have the fans go along with that.
I like that.
Yeah. So, and I think that's important in all art forms,
Yeah, always evolving.
Yeah, just always trying something new and, challenging yourself.
And you've had a lot of exciting recent things happen with your music.
Sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's all positive stuff.
Song featured on a...
Yeah, on the Netflix show What If, my song was used prominently during a gay threesome scene, which was I got the description of it before the show aired, and I was like, oh, this is like, I guess I can't show my dad this, but but yeah, I mean, it's my husband called the scene hot, so that's a positive thing. I don't know. The show's like very kind of like trashy. It's gotten like really bad reviews and really good reviews, but everybody agrees that it's a very kind of trashy, guilty pleasure type show.
That's fun.
Yeah, I haven't watched all of it, but I could. Yeah, I see it being that kind of show. So yeah, no, that was very exciting and I've gotten a lot of new fans, it looks like, from that show, which is neat.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And yeah, I mean, like, just the fact that people can just Shazam a song on TV.
You can?
Yeah. You know that?
I don't know. I don't use Shazam. Is it an app?
Yeah. It's an app.
I felt like Shazamming was a thing, like, what, 7 years ago?
Oh, I don't know.
And I didn't know people were still being a part of it.
It's not, Shazam isn't like really, I don't see it as like a community or anything. It's just, it's like a tool that you use when you want it, like, oh, what's this song playing in, Costco?
How often are you Shazamming?
Pretty a lot. I don't know.
Wow.
Most of my Shazams are really dumb songs that, like, I'll be in CVS, I'll be like, this song is so stupid. What is this? Like, I have to know what this is. The last song I Shazammed was a really stupid song. It was a song where I was like, God, how does a song like this get made and then become popular and played? And it ended up being by Savage Garden. I don't know if you know who they are, but
Savage Garden, is that like a 90s alternative group?
I think like 90s, early 2000s. I have a feeling the song I Shazam was a more recent thing, but it was really kind of painful. Sorry, Savage Garden, but I couldn't do it. Yeah, that was so most of my Shazams are dumb stuff like that. But as an artist on there, like, I can see how many times a song I have is Shazammed. And yeah, so that's helpful.
That's
like
dope.
As a source of metrics or whatever, see how people are doing. So it's gotten several thousand Shazams in a week, and
wow.
So that's neat, and it's translating to people that are then listening to it on Spotify or iTunes or Apple
That's
Music
so cool.
and stuff. So yeah,
and your album is on Delta.
You know what?
Or a couple songs, or
No, I had two releases that were featured on Delta Airlines, and they're like in-flight entertainment. I don't know if it's there anymore.
That's so cool.
I have to like fly Delta to find that out, and I can't really afford to do that just to see if my stuff is on there. I guess I could email someone. I don't know, but yeah, I've gotten a lot of new fans from that too, and it's neat. And then people will fly Delta and see adult karate on there and send me the picture, but that hasn't happened in a long time. So I have a feeling it's not there anymore. But yeah.
Speaking of airplanes, did you recently get recognized on one?
That was like something that I told Steven, your husband, or you. I don't know. I'll talk about it, but it was. I got a mess. I was flying to back east, and I saw. We were waiting to depart in the plane.
Where were you sitting?
I don't remember. I don't know. I was sitting on.
Was it economy?
It was economy. Okay. Come on. I've flown first class twice in my life, and one time I stole it by just sitting down.
And class. You didn't get caught?
No, this was before 9/11.
Okay, so
when I was like a teenager, and I was flying by myself, and so the plane was half empty, so I just sat down, and they were serving me champagne that I looked like a little kid, but they were I don't know. American Airlines really dropped the ball on that one, but yeah. So I was sitting there with my husband next to me. We were going back east to visit his mom, and I was in I think I was in the center seat, and he was in the aisle seat. Anyway, so I'm just we're about to take off. I'm scrolling through Instagram, and I get a message on Instagram saying, I just saw it. You know how sometimes you just see the notification, you see the first little part of the message, you're just like, oh, yeah, what is this? And it was something to the effect of, I have to read it because it's really funny.
I just saw a funny meme recently. What in the one mutual friend hell do you want?
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I relate to that. Where is this?
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry too, man.
While you find that, I'm texting Steven to bring home food.
Okay. Tell him to bring me some little snacky peas.
I'm hungry.
Snacky poos. Okay, here we go. Okay. So she says, "Do you have a twin, or are you on my flight?" And I saw that, and we were just taking off, so I couldn't. By the time I collected myself, I didn't respond in time because we were taking off. So we landed an hour and a half later to a connection. I was taking a connecting flight, and I said, "Haha, yes, that was me." And it turns out from her profile. Her profile description says independent adult performer, Los Angeles, big slut.
Let me see.
And
so she's an adult film actress.
Yes, it looks that way.
She's hot.
Yeah, she's good looking.
Oh my God, she's hot.
If I wasn't,
she kind of reminds me of Allie.
Yeah, she's got that look. Yeah.
Wow, she's so hot. Oh, are those elf ears not as hot anymore? Just kidding. I'm just jealous. Damn, she's so hot.
Yeah, so...
well, bitch. No, I can't stop looking at her.
Okay, stop.
Some people just have such a sexual face.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Some girls just have that, straight up porn face. It's just this slight smile that I can't achieve. She's just hi.
No, she's talented.
So you watch one of her videos?
No, I did not. But I'm gay, so I don't. It doesn't affect me that way. But I saw her profile. I was like, oh shit, she's the real deal.
As a gay man,
Yes.
Can you still like get a little excited that like a hot like does it?
Yeah, it's
like
it's amazing. Like what that's what you
besides
want.
excitement of talent being recognized by a fan, I'm talking about like a hot chick.
Yeah, no, it's
like does that still? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. Like it doesn't excite me like I'm sure it would excite a straight guy, but like just on the level of being recognized and kind of doing something and being somewhere. I mean, this is the first time I was ever recognized in public. I don't know. I might. She might be like a friend of a friend that came to a show and followed me or something. I'm not sure.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't know. I know I never actually met her. So she says, "Do you have a twin or are you on my flight?" I said, "Haha, yes, that was me." Later, and then she said,
"You wrote later."
No, I didn't. I texted her that later, an hour and a half later, back, and then she says, "LOL, I was certain, but didn't want to be like, hello, Mr. Adult Karate, it's me, a whore."
Oh my God!
Which made me laugh for like 5 minutes.
That's
when I
so
read
funny.
That. So I responded, I don't know how to haha, I don't know how to respond to that, but I certainly wouldn't have been upset or offended if you said hi. So yeah, that was
that's cool.
That was. It was neat. Like I want to pretend like, I'm sure you can relate. You want to pretend like, you're too cool for that type of thing, I guess. But I was like really excited about that. I was like, that's the first time that's ever happened. So yeah, thank you for making me talk about that on the podcast.
I love that it was a porn star.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm a whore.
Yeah. But she has a good sense of humor, which I really liked. And from her posts and stories I've seen, she's good at what she does, and she has a good sense of humor, which is great.
Did you follow back?
I did after that. Yeah, I did follow back up. Of course.
So you've been exchanging some likes.
Yeah, I've liked a couple of her things. Like she has some really creative kind of shots and stuff, which I always respond to creativity.
That's so funny.
You know what? That's not even the
first porn star?
First porn star interaction I've had was with someone who's listened to my music.
Really?
Yes. A couple years ago, someone tweeted at me. A different porn star tweeted at me. I have to read this. This was really weird. I wasn't prepared, or I would have had this ready to go. But so she tweeted at me like, and I didn't see it at first because I don't have notifications for Twitter on, so it was like a little bit before I actually saw that this happen. Okay, yeah. So it says at Adult Karate. Those sounds summon frequencies which collude with angel vultures, and when the chemtrails clear, it can be seen. What? All are but waves. We can see the wormhole since we are all just waves. Adult Karate equals A Turde Lata K? Question mark. So I was like, what the fuck is that? And it was like, like, I don't know, she says those sounds summon frequencies. So, like, I guess she's, like, listening to my music and...
Vibrating it?
I don't know what's going on. So, like, I was like, holy shit. So I took a screenshot of it and posted it on Facebook. I was like, this like, porn star is tweeting weird stuff at me. Like, should I be concerned? And, so I go back to go look at her Twitter profile, and she blocked me. After that, I didn't respond or anything.
Oh, my God.
She, like, sent that to me and then blocked me.
Little tease.
I know. So I was like, oh, okay.
Where did the name Adult Karate come from?
It was, like I've been in several projects over the years that the thing is always trying to pick, like, a really cool... dark, serious name for what you're doing. And after a while that started to annoy me, like that.
What did you have another name beforehand?
Well, no, I used to be in a project before this called Radar Cult, which I helped come up with that name with the guy I was making music with then. But it's just my instinct is to do something stupid all the time. Like like my music is serious and mostly very serious and dark and lyrical content is serious. But in real life, I mean, I just I love comedy. That's why I love you and Steven. Like I love comedy and I've always loved it. And so I was like. One day I was before work. I was getting a bagel at this place, and it was next to a karate studio. And there was a gentleman that was maybe in his late 30s, early 40s, like kind of a big guy with a ponytail and like receding hairline on the top. And he was dressed in like full karate outfit, like walking into this strip mall karate studio. And I was like, oh, he must work there. But, like, he was a student. But he was, like, in a class. Like, I saw him walk in, and he joined, like, a class of, like, teenagers. Or, it was, like, during the summer. So it was, like, they were out of school. And I just thought to myself, I was like, wow, they really need, like, a separate adult karate class. And I was like, oh, adult karate. So I wrote that down.
Yeah.
Because, like, it made me giggle. And I wrote it down on my phone. And then, once the Radar Cult thing disintegrated, I was like, I want to, make my own music now on my own, and I'm just gonna give it that dumb name, just because, like, I don't know, like I guess I got sick of people picking these serious names for
like Moody Boy, BOI.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of funny actually. Like, if you're gonna say BOI in your shit, like. I don't know. I respect
That's the
that.
one I just thought could be another name for you.
No, but there's like,
Moody Boy.
In the indie world, there's indie electronic world, there's like all these people that, instead of a U, they use a V or,
really?
It's just like gimmicky kind of stuff. And I guess the name Adult Karate is also gimmicky, but like, I don't know. I just thought it was funny to have this very serious music with this really dumb
name.
I
like that.
So, yeah, that's where it came from.
And how long have you... So you do keyboard and vocals?
Or
guitar?
I do all of it. Like, for the songs that... on the recordings, like, I do all of it. So, if there's guitar or bass guitar in a song, I'm playing it. Or if there's... except for a few...
you could play every instrument.
I could play every instrument, almost good. Like I'm mediocre at every instrument. Like that was my problem always kind of growing up, is I could never focus on one thing and master that. Like even when I was a kid and I was starting to play guitar and get into music, I was like, at the same time I want to make movies too.
Yeah.
And I want to paint and all this.
But that's okay.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. It definitely took me longer to get my shit together artistically to be able to really do anything worthwhile. It's because I was spreading myself across all this stuff. So I mean, my instinct always, like, going back to before, is to like music wise is to always be trying different stuff, because my interest in music is so broad, like that, like like the album I'm working on right now, it's like there's like a indie rock song on there, like a pop indie rock song, and then there's like a kind of spacey jazz type song, like with a improvised trumpet solo. I don't know. It's just like, and I don't know if it's gonna work. Like, it may be terrible, but like, I don't want to do the same thing I've done before. So
that's cool.
So, but yeah, that prevented me when I was younger from getting really good at any particular instrument. I'm probably best at guitar, but I'm still not great. Like, I can't play like a Metallica guitar solo. I could if like I practice it for a week, but like just...
I feel like that sounds like most people.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know, but like like my friend Drew, who plays live shows with me when I do adult karate, he's an incredible guitarist, and he went to school for classical guitar, and like he's like a master at it, and like I respect that so much, because I I don't have that attention span or to sit down and really just master one thing.
Yeah. You didn't go to
master
college, right?
8. Hey-o.
Nice. You didn't go to college, right?
I did.
You? Oh, sorry.
Do I look like I didn't go to college?
No, I just guessed you
Do
did.
I have that non-collegiate
No,
look?
where'd you go?
I didn't graduate from college, but I went to Cal State Long Beach for 2 years. Then I went to Pasadena City College for 1 year. And I'm still only 12 units away from a degree, but in liberal arts or whatever, which I guess doesn't really pull the same weight it used to. But
did it ever?
I think so. I think
only if you were going to go to a protest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they call it something different now, but it's basically
communications.
What
is it called? Communication?
No, it's just like a general degree.
Mm-hmm.
It means you went to college and you didn't necessarily major in like psychology or blah, blah, blah. It's just like a general degree. So most people will get...
I think it's just called keeping your parents happy.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's the degree.
Yeah. So my mom still tells me, she's like, you're so close to getting your degree.
They still want you to?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, that's cute. Well, your parents are very collegiate themselves. Your dad, right?
Well, your dad, yeah.
Your dad's a doctor.
My dad's a retired forensic psychologist.
Oh,
yes.
Isn't he a doctor?
He is a doctor. He has PhD
amongst
in forensic
other
psychology. Yeah, amongst other. What does that mean?
I don't know. I just wanted to make him sound super prestigious. I feel like do you have a library at home that he just sits in?
He has this like den and he actually my old bedroom is now his office where he's writing a book about serial killers that he's evaluated in the past, and it sounds very heady and interesting, but yeah, no, there are books at our house, but I don't know, he's so different than me in that he'll just wake up in the morning and just immediately start doing something, working big time on something, whether it be his book or out in the backyard. And he's pushing 80 years old, and he's still, out in the backyard every day and digging holes and planting.
For what? Oh, gardening.
Just gardening and building tables, and he does that. He's really good at that, and
he's a dad.
He is.
That's dad shit.
It is dad shit, but he's actually good at it. A lot of dads, I think, will be like, "Oh, I'm building a table," but it's not
horrible.
That nice. But when my dad builds a table, it's like, holy shit, this is a significant thing, and
he's like, yeah, just restore the wood, just whittle it down to just a clean slate.
He actually wouldn't ever even talk about it. He'd just do it. And
whoa!
Be like, here's this table,
Damn.
It's so he's very different. I guess I took after him in some ways, but I'm the artsy, gay, creative type where I was just like, oh, I want to create, and sit there and try and find the right lyrics for a song, whereas my dad's building the railroads out there somewhere,
Was that an Asian joke?
No, it was not. My dad's not Asian. My mom is Asian. My mom is full Japanese.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Your dad's not Asian?
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot. I guess I've only met them once or twice.
At your wedding? Didn't you talk
about
your wedding?
At my wedding? Oh, yeah.
My dad has the patch on his eye.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah. So, and my mom's the very...
How did he get the patch?
I don't know. It's a murky story. He's had it as long as, I've been alive. And
really?
Yeah, it happened
when you were born?
When he was 18, it happened.
Oh.
Yeah, so apparently, I don't know. I could never get
you don't know yourself?
I can't get a straight story out of it. Every time I ask, it's it's either one of two things. He was he grew up in Eagle Rock, California, which is northern Los Angeles, in the 50s before all this development. So he would go up and, on that 134, it goes to that hill area between Glendale and Pasadena.
I think so.
Yeah. So before that freeway was there, he would go up into the mountains and trap animals and
whoa.
Yeah, do super manly shit. He was like an Eagle Scout and everything. And so apparently he was in the back hills and shooting a shotgun and it backfired. Or I've also heard that it was a fireworks mishap. But actually, both of his eyes are fucked up.
Oh.
One of them, he has a patch because it's completely gone. And I guess something else happened later that messed up the other eye. So he has to wear like special glasses and stuff.
Have you ever seen what's under the patch?
Yeah. Oh. It looks like a eyeball with just kind of murky color on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
cool. I never thought I'd go here on the podcast.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd be talking about my dad's
I don't know. I guess it just
eyeball.
came out.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. So you have been sober as well.
Yes.
For 10?
8 plus years. My February 5th, 2011.
Awesome.
Yeah, so.
And you and Steven used to be party boys, BOIs
We were
together.
party BOIs together. More than you even know, girlfriend.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
You know what?
Nothing. So yeah, why don't you tell me about? So you guys grew up together in Pasadena, you and
Yes.
Steven. Since a very young age. How old? Like you've known each other since you were like 4?
4 or 5, kindergarten.
Oh.
Yeah.
Went to St. Francis
Yes, St. Francis High School. Yeah.
High School. And when did you start partying?
As soon as possible, really. Like, I think the first little dip into that I had with Steven as well was when we were 12-ish, and Steven had gone Christmas tree shopping with his family, and he found a pack of Marlboro Reds at there, and so he brought it back. He like called me. He's like, "I got cigarettes." And I was like, "Wow, cigarettes!" And so I remember me, him, and our friend Chris like smoked this whole pack of cigarettes, and I got super sick.
Yeah, I did that too.
And you know, I got
Newport.
sick to my stomach, and for like a week, I got like it just fucked me up.
Yeah,
But like as soon as I got over that, I was like, oh, let's get more cigarettes.
Right.
It wasn't a deterrent like it is for normal people. So that was the first thing I remember with him and I getting into that stuff. And it just grew from there. When we got into high school, it was smoking pot and drinking a lot. And yeah, Steven, your husband, was he was so much fun to be friends with, but he was so rambunctious, I guess is the word. Like he's very lively and borderline, kind of crazy in those days with, just very unpredictable. We got arrested together once in Santa Barbara, and we both had been drinking, but like, as soon as we get arrested, it's like, oh shit, I'm going to shut up. And hopefully if I'm nice enough or polite enough, to let me go. But I was with Steven, and he was just like, fuck you.
Really?
Like, yeah, it's just like,
wait, I don't remember
arrest.
The Santa Barbara arrest. I know the Mexico arrest.
Yeah, that was the more hardcore one.
So you both have been arrested twice together?
Yes. Maybe more.
That's so funny.
Yeah, at least twice.
So you guys were both like together, troublemakers together. Did you ever have a thought like, Steven's a bad influence?
No.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
I think probably both of our parents around the time would agree that we're probably equally bad influences on each other, just in different ways. But no, I never thought that. There have been people in my life, in my childhood, where, my parents had friends, and like, so they go over to the friend's house, then you have to hang out with their kids.
Ugh.
And I've, been in situations like that where I'd be like, this guy has a bad influence on me. Like, the first time I smoked pot was with this guy like that. And like,
what was his name?
Jason Rusi.
Jason.
Yeah. Which Jason was great, and I loved the Rusis and going over there and stuff. But
wait, DeRusi?
No, not DeRusi.
Oh, isn't there a DeRusi too?
I don't know.
These are just names I've learned from Steven.
Steven knows Jason Rusi very well. But yeah, that was like, I remember thinking when I was a kid, like, oh, this is not a good influence on me because, I'm smoking pot and I never did that before, and I'm drinking beer when I shouldn't. But, I was all for it. But I remember thinking that in my head. But with Steven, it was never like that because when we got together, we just had fun together. We just fucked around and got into trouble together on like an equal footing. Mm-hmm. So the only thing he ever pressured me into doing, which I didn't want to do, was like when he'd be like, "Oh, let's go get some girls tonight," and I'd be like, "Yeah."
Really? And you had to like pretend?
I had to pretend, yeah.
So yeah, and when did you come out? Or at least tell Steven?
Steven was one of the first people, the second person I ever told.
Who's the first? The guy you hooked up with?
Well, that goes without saying.
I know.
But no, the first was I'd gone to New York to visit the girlfriend, long-term girlfriend I had in high school.
You had a long-term girlfriend?
Well, like a couple years.
I guess that's normal, right?
Yeah. So, and she was great, and but she went to NYU. And I was like 19. This is when I stole the first class seat, the same trip.
Oh my God!
To go into NYU. So I went out and visited her, and I was super. I was 19 and just hadn't told anybody anything about.
But you obviously knew.
Yeah, I knew. I knew since I was like 8 or 9, and I had a very, very kind of depressing 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old time because I was like.
Suppressed?
It was not just suppressed, but I was super just. I just hated myself because of it. Yeah, because like I wasn't. I was going to Catholic school, and obviously that was like the worst thing you could be is gay, and it was when AIDS was really a huge epidemic at the time, and it's like we had teachers telling us like, oh yeah, AIDS is a plague that's punishing gay people.
Oh my God!
All that's like swimming around in my head, and my peers and stuff like how kids are, especially back then. It was always fag or gay people, but being a butt of a joke. So it was tough, and. So yeah, I knew then, but so I was like 19, and I went to visit. High school was just I don't know. I just tried to make myself straight by dating girls and stuff. And I had a lot of girlfriends and stuff, but
a lot of girls like really liked you too.
Yeah,
right. I think Steven told me every girl had a crush on you.
Well, I think it was a side effect of me not caring about like the fact that I wasn't responsive to all their advances.
They're like, he's mysterious.
Yeah, I think and I was actually just gay, but and I really didn't care that much. But I would get start dating girls to keep up appearances and stuff. So but my long-term girlfriend Megan, I really did love her, just not like in a sexual way, I guess. But she was great, and so I went out and visited her. We had broken up, but I went out and visited her. And New York, that was the first time I'd been to New York, and her dorm was like overlooking Washington Square Park, and it's like 19, first time in New York, and it was amazing, and I was like immediately like, oh my, this is like the type of place I need to be. Yeah. And all her friends were like these like kind of gay New York guys. Mm-hmm. And
they probably knew.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they sensed it right away. And
when you showed up with the scarf.
The bandana. Do you know about the bandana color codes? It's
what?
Like an old gay 70s
really?
thing. Yeah, look at anybody listening, look it up online. I forgot what it's called, but like it's a bandana color code, like you
wear it around your neck.
No, you put it in like your back pocket, and the different colors mean different. What you're into. And before, it was like in the 70s when like it was super suppressed, but you could wear like a yellow bandana in your back pocket, and another guy would be like, "Oh, he's into piss," So,
oh my God!
It was like you got to read the color charts. Wow. Funny. But after that trip, and it was great that they were being openly gay and expressing themselves openly, which I had never experienced before. even though I'm from Los Angeles, and you'd think it would be, but like just that whole scene that they had there was just so refreshing. So I came home from there, and I later called Megan, the ex-girlfriend, and to tell her, like, I was like, I think I'm bisexual.
Because you didn't want to fully.
Yeah. I think, a lot of times when people will
say they're bi, it's because they're too.
It's like a stepping stone to really being gay, I think. Not all the time, but in my case, that was definitely the case.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's what I did.
And was she like, duh?
I think, she was kind of like, he was like, oh, yeah, I could see that, or something like that. So that was kind of the first person I told. And then I had this friend a couple years later that I told that I was gay. It was a girl that, I was very close with, that, she probably knew too. Mm-hmm. And then Steven was, after I told that girl, I was like...
And realized you didn't catch on flames.
Yeah, exactly. So I told Steven, and I was very nervous about it, and I took him out to... at dinner, it was like we went to this like horrible. We were really into like Asian noodles at the time, like Vietnamese noodles and stuff like that, and like down on Valley Boulevard in Monterey Park and San Gabriel, all these incredible Asian restaurants, and so we went to one randomly.
Didn't you go to like a really nice restaurant?
No, we eventually did.
I thought you went to like a steakhouse.
No. We went and got a steak at one of these Japanese, cheap Japanese noodle places, and it was terrible. And so we had this conversation, and we were, I told him, and he was, super cool about it, and he's like, oh my God, like. So when I'd be like, oh, let's go get pussy or whatever, was that difficult for you? I was like, yeah, it kind of was, but I get it. So he's like, apologized for that. I remember, but like, we were both not eating this terrible steak, and we at a certain point, I don't remember who said it. What did he say? Like, I think one of us was like, can we like leave here? The steak is terrible. Can we go get like a real steak somewhere? So we went to a different restaurant after that because the food was so bad. But that was funny. I don't know. I
like that story.
Yeah, it was.
It's like a scene in a movie.
It was definitely, and I was so nervous that like he was gonna be like what, you're a fucking faggot. Mm-hmm. I knew he wouldn't, or else I wouldn't have told him in the first place. But there's always that fear in the back of your head. I was lucky. I didn't really lose any friends when I came out. I did lose one friend who just kind of stopped talking to me after that.
That's weird.
It was weird.
Well, that's their weird shit. Yeah. It has nothing to do with you. Yeah,
so
they were probably gay.
I don't think so. I just think it made him super uncomfortable that I was openly gay, and that like he's probably insecure, and he's like, oh, if I associate with him, people will think I'm gay. I don't think he is. Maybe he is. I don't know.
When I was in high school, I really liked this guy, and people were like, I think he's gay. And I was like, no, he's not. And like when we hooked up and we quote unquote went to second base, he just was like going like that, like doing like a wax on, wax off motion. And we were calling it like window washing. Like there was all these little signs that he just didn't know what he was doing. And everyone was like, Chelsea, he's gay. And then like everybody found out, but I was literally the last one. And I was like, no, he's not. He's not. I was like, I like him. No. And now he's like full on. Yeah. And then he was like full on like raging.
Yeah.
Like gay, living his best life.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. I don't know. And it was like, I was like literally the last one to be like, no, he's not. Because I liked him. And now he just does his thing. And like,
that's what he's like rubbing your breast in a circle.
But there's all these like little signs that I was ignoring because I just wanted to be with him.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done that same thing just with guys in the past who are gay, but just you're ignoring certain things because you have this kind of idealized idea of who they are in your head. Yeah, I don't know, just like, warning signs or,
that they might not be gay?
No, not about that. It's just, other things that red flags.
Oh, just
you know,
hooking up with someone in general.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, I think this guy might have a meth problem.
Oh, yeah.
But
okay.
I don't know. I like him, and so
yeah,
just
and there's a lot
overlooking
of that.
Yeah, I never got into meth. Thank God. I did it several times, but it was, I don't know. It made me feel gross, and I couldn't sleep, and I loved sleeping.
Yeah,
and I would just, one time on meth was one of the last times I did it because this happened. Like we were all like 16 or 17, and we had like, it was back in the days when you would like snort it, and we were driving around, and we're just talking 1,000 miles a minute as you do on that stuff. And I remember it was around the time that movie The Birdcage came out. Remember that?
Yeah.
With Robin Williams and the gay people. And I went on this like huge diatribe, speech about how I'm against the fact that they're buying into these gay stereotypes to sell this movie. And it's like, not all gay people are like that. And Hollywood needs to realize, and like, I was like 16 or 17, I was going on this, and I just realized that all the people in the car were just silent, listening to me go off on this thing. I was like, holy shit. Like, I was 2 steps away from just coming out of the closet accidentally at that point.
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, oh, I can't do meth anymore. Like, I can't. I have
slip.
no control over what I'm saying.
I might slip on a tangent.
Yeah, exactly. I almost did. I was like, defending the rights of non-stereotypical gay people, because like I was being self-reflective. I was like, I don't act like these like kind of Queenie types that Hollywood likes to sell as the gay character, like not, and like I know other gay people aren't like necessarily like that either. Some are, but that doesn't sell tickets. Like I would say most gay people are not like this kind of Hollywood movie flamboyant gay guy. I think so. But yeah, that was and plus meth is, I don't know, I just didn't like the way it made me feel.
So you started getting into pills and then heroin.
Yeah.
First, 1 second. Do you eat peppers?
Do I eat peppers?
I bought a $9 container of sliced peppers, and it's like one of the only things I have in my fridge. I'm going to get them if you want to eat some cool. If not, I'm just going to eat them. It's a new snack that I'm trying. So just continue talking while I grab the multicolored sliced peppers.
Okay. Unfortunately, with peppers, I love peppers, okay? Don't get me wrong. I love the taste, texture. I love dishes that use peppers in them. But a couple years ago, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease.
Oh, you can't have them?
I can. It'll fuck me up really bad. Yeah. And, it's, I mean, truthfully, like, I don't know. I don't really talk about, in a public sense, like having Crohn's disease, but it is like it sucks, man. Like, I can't.
I'm going to have to eat these peppers while we talk.
That's fine.
I'm so hungry.
I'm envious because I love peppers. I just can't eat them anymore. But yeah, it's that's what I was feeling ill earlier today just because of that. I'm about to get on a new medication which will
really?
possibly help. But
what has it hindered for you? Crohn's.
I don't know, everything.
IBS stuff, right?
Yeah, but it's more than that. Like, one of the major side effects is being lethargic. Just tiredness constantly. So that's a thing that I've been dealing with, and I'll be working in the studio for a while, and I'll just I'm doing is like sitting there and like I'm playing keyboards or mixing and doing things on the computer, and I'll just be sitting there and be like, shit, I have to lay down like right now because I can't. I just lose steam like immediately.
Yeah, I feel like that all the time.
Yeah.
Do you want a rice cake?
What?
Do you want a rice cake? I'm so fucking hungry right now. I'm okay. Starving. Sorry. And I'm sorry to the listeners. I'm trying not to put the microphone while I'm crunching, but
yeah, I think the rice cake would be the worst thing for the microphone.
I only have crunchy snacks.
crunchy snacks are usually the best, you know. Do you have any like?
I have popcorn.
Do you have any?
You want popcorn?
No. Okay.
Okay, I think.
Do you have any lukewarm porridge?
Ew. We have miso
Unsweetened?
soup packets.
Of what is it?
Miso soup packets.
Oh, I do love miso soup.
Do you want one?
No, it's like.
We're hungry.
I am hungry, but I don't need.
Wait,
that right
Steven
now.
called. I wanted to bring him food. Oh, he said, "Can you Postmate food?" So tell me about the heroin. Sorry, it's so rude to text in between, but we both have work soon. We have work in an hour, so he wants me to Postmate him dinner. I'm sorry, should have been more organized.
It's
Casey,
okay. This
I'm
is how I live
sorry.
my life too.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I live my life this way too. Feel free to Postmate while I get into my drug use stuff. Get into the real meat and potatoes of this podcast. So I have something to admit, you guys. I haven't actually ever done drugs.
Yes, you have.
I know. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I got into I was sharing about it at a meeting yesterday. It was like the first time I took Vicodin. From an early age, I was drinking and smoking pot and, messing around with acid and ecstasy and all that stuff. But none of that became like a problem for me until I was at school one day and some skater kid had broken his arm and he knew I was one of like the burnout kids. And he went up to me. He's like, "Hey, do you want one of these pills?"
What were they?
Vicodin.
Oh, sorry.
And I was like, "Sure," I had taken like codeine before for a toothache, and I remember it being slightly pleasurable. But so I took this one pill, and it was on the day we were going on a field trip somewhere up the coast or whatever. We were all in this bus, and it was driving up PCH, and it was just very beautiful.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So like I remember taking that pill, and it instantly kind of a wash of like, wow, everything is suddenly okay in my life right now. It really felt like, I'd felt really different than everybody else and really uneasy in my own skin for most of my life. And when I took that pill, I was like, oh, must be how normal people feel all the time, or how they're able to get through life. So, I didn't immediately get addicted to Vicodin. Even if I did, I wouldn't have a way to get it, But I logged that away as like being like, oh, okay, that's a solution. That's a definite solution for my problem. So, by the time I got to college and stuff, and I could find a source to get this all the time. I did whenever
in Long Beach.
Yeah, Cal State Long Beach. So whenever I could find it and get it, or anybody was selling it, I would always buy it. And I remember Steven in the beginning was so kind of scared of taking pills and stuff. And
really,
we were at like a house party once, and I remember I was with him, and I was going through this family's medicine cabinet looking for pills.
As we do.
Yeah, as we do. And I remember Steven was like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?"
Really?
Yeah.
Was he kind of a dork?
No, he wasn't. But he you know how he is. He has like certain phobias with things. And I think for a long time with him, like pills, he was super scared of.
Yeah.
And you should be. Like, he was healthy. Like, you shouldn't be like, oh, pills are awesome.
I was like a garbage monster from like the age of 10.
Yeah, I mean, but, as soon as I had my first good pill, I was like, these are awesome. And Steven, right as he should be, was like weary of it. He was like, I don't know if we should be doing this, but we were at this party, and he was like, oh, that's disgusting. I can't believe you're doing that. I was like, dude, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
then
so
I'm bored.
Then a couple months later after that, Steven got his wisdom teeth taken out, and they prescribed him Vicodin. And I remember him calling me, and he was like, dude, I get it. This is awesome.
Oh, wow.
I was like, see? I was like, it's awesome, right? He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, will you give me some of your Vicodin? And he's like, yeah, come over. So after that, we were both kind of off and running with it. I think he probably had the same response to it, where it's like, wow, I finally feel amazing.
How did it progress to you living in a tent on Hollywood Boulevard with the shaved head?
What?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was like, where the fuck did you hear that?
I'm kidding. Sorry.
I was like, that sounds really like kind of like super like, gutter punk and cool. But no, I did. That never happened. No. Yeah. And so, as the years went on, luckily I had Steven around to always, he's really good at meeting new people. And he, when we were both drug addicts, he was really good at finding drugs in the most dire of circumstances when like all hope was lost and we were dope sick.
I was good at that too.
Yeah, I could see that. I was not good at it because I was not like I'm not like an outgoing person.
Yeah.
Steven's a very outgoing person.
Yeah. So
he knows how to get that kind of thing done. So I was always around with him and he was always making those connections. So, we were always finding new dealers and stuff like that through that, which was good for a little while. But, eventually, like once we switched over to heroin, it was like, it got super dark and,
of course,
we didn't see much of each other after that at all.
Really?
We had the same dealer. Like there'd be times where we wouldn't talk for months, and then we'd see each other waiting at the same spot for the same dealer.
Oh my God.
And I'd, call him or text him, and I'd just be like, hey, I'm like, 10 cars behind you. And he's like, want to go get KFC after this? And so we'd go, we'd get our shit. We'd go to KFC and like take turns using the bathroom and, doing the drugs in the bathroom. And,
you weren't getting chicken?
We did. I lived on those little you remember KFC snackers? They're like a little, they're
I think
super
so.
gross.
I know that you loved Entenmann cakes.
I do.
I heard.
That was like I actually have one in the house right now.
Really?
Entenmann's, you can't find that cream cheesecake anymore, but like Vaughn's makes their own version of it, which is still pretty good. But yeah, my diet back then was so bad. I
know, mine too. Yeah. I ate so much fast food when I was partying.
Yeah.
So much. I don't eat it though in sobriety, and I know you do.
I
what's up with
do,
that?
but like not as much anymore, just because my stomach can't handle it. I get a stomach ache no matter what I eat now, so it sucks. But
not as bad as you. Sorry.
No, it's okay. No. Tell me all about how you're suffering with a stomach disease, Chelsea. No, you're not. What would you do if I like got super?
I'd be like, want some ginger tea for your tum tum?
But yeah, no, I remember when I was like super strung out on heroin and cocaine. The cocaine is what really does it. Is like when I was, shooting speedballs and stuff. Like my daily food intake would be 11 a.m. one yogurt, Yoplait yogurt, and then
I've never had yogurt.
What?
I've never had yogurt.
What does that mean?
I don't like it.
How do you know you don't like it if
it's
you've never
just
had
like
it?
It just grosses me out.
Okay.
I make it.
It's great. What do you mean you make it?
When I have an infection.
Is that like okay.
I'm like, I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't want the thing that naturally comes out of my swimsuit area. My meal every day when I was super strung out would be a Yoplait yogurt in the morning at like 11, and then at 11 p.m., like 12 hours later, I would eat an entire bag of chips, and then that would be like what I ate during the day, and I would just repeat that over and over. And like when I got sober, I weighed like 120 pounds.
Wow, and you're tall, right? What are you?
5'11", 5'10" and a half-ish. Yeah, I have pictures of me. I have actually found a picture of me shirtless, a couple of years ago from that time, and I was like, oh my God, I look like I'm a prisoner of war or something. It's really bad. So yeah, it's. They say in 12 steps in recovery or whatever, just the progression of the disease is crazy, and it was for me. I maintained better than Steven did. Steven was more of the type where like he would get, if he got $100 worth of drugs, he would do it all in 4 hours. Whereas I was the type to be like, I need to make this last until I know I can get money again so I don't get dope sick. Steven would do all of it, and then he'd call me the next day. He's like, I'm so sick. And I was like, well, dude, you did all your shit. Like, I'm sorry.
Can't
I
help
can't
you.
help you. You know?
Bye.
You know, I know we're like best friends and all, but like, you know, all bets are off when we're both fucking junkies. But
Did you shoot it?
Yeah, I did.
Where'd you shoot it?
You know, in the arm. You know,
like
I
in
started.
here?
Yeah, in the normal place, and you know where you bend your arm.
You know, your forearm.
Yeah.
You know what's gross? I got my blood taken the other day, and he was looking for it, the guy, and he goes, "There's the good vein," and I was like, "Ugh," and he just like sexualized it because he was a phlebiologist or whatever they're called.
A phlebotomist.
Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah.
We walked by this guy who was like obviously like a crazy high meth addict on the street, and he was naked except for like these like really tight shorts, and he had a huge abscess on his arm. Does that mean he kept shooting it in the same spot?
No, not necessarily. That just means that I would get abscesses.
Really?
And it would just I had one. It's just you're not when you're a drug addict like that, you don't really care too much about cleanliness. Like, you know, using the spoon and doing it with a lighter does kill a lot of the germs, but you're reusing the same needle over and over and over.
Ew.
So it's a ripe situation for infection. So
Did you pick out your skin?
Yeah, all the time. I always had some kind of abrasion on my face that like I would, cocaine especially, like you just sit there in the fucking mirror. And
I've never done that on coke.
Really?
No, I was too busy talking.
Yeah, I did.
Steven said you had a little Band-Aids on your face and you were like Nelly.
I did. Well, because I always had these like, I would get abscesses where I would shoot up, but even before I used needles, like just the impurity of the drugs we were getting would cause me to like break out in these like staph infections on my face and stuff.
Ew.
And it would start out looking like a pimple, but then it would get super big. And like I'd have to like cut it open and stuff. And so I always had Band-Aids on my face because I was always like had all these. I guess I was prone to that kind of thing.
Oh my God.
But yeah, one time I remember
I
got an abscess in my arm from shooting on my left arm, and I remember like it ballooned up to like maybe 2 times its normal size.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's like what I saw.
Yeah, it gets super bad.
And what'd you do?
You're gonna think this is gross too. So, what I like to this experience changed like how like so anyway, my arm ballooned up like all big, and I knew what it was, and I could see. Right underneath the skin, like I could tell that it was like, there was the pus or whatever right underneath there. So I was like, either I have to go to the doctor and say like, oh, I got this infection from shooting up or whatever, or take care of it myself. So I just, shot up a bunch of heroin, and I went in the shower with an X-Acto knife.
Ah!
And
where'd you get one? An art store?
Well, I was a creative person. I always had X-Acto knives around. But like, so I, sterilized it and then just cut open in 2 places on my arm right above the area where you would shoot up. You see I still have the scars from it right here. Do you see it?
Oh, yeah. Oh.
But
that's not very big, so it collapsed.
Yeah, well, the
so it was
scar
like popping a huge pimple, essentially.
Yeah, so I just sat there. I poked it open in a couple places, and I squeezed it, and that.
And doesn't it smell when it comes out? Isn't that like a thing?
Yeah.
Like it smells like really bad.
Yeah. Well, pus smells. Yeah.
Okay.
So after that, I was like, you know how when you were a drug addict, you would go through people's medicine cabinets and stuff.
Girl.
Yeah. Right. So. After that experience, I would go through people's medicine cabinets, but I would not be looking for narcotics. I'd be looking for antibiotics because I knew I couldn't go to the doctor or whatever, or I'd be found out or whatever. I just didn't want to go down that road. So whenever I go someplace, I'd always steal their antibiotics if they had it, you know.
That's so funny.
In my junky bag that I always had with me, I always had like 2 different kinds of antibiotics just in case.
Your street name was the Doctor. You know what I mean? If this was like a film noir-esque, like seedy movie.
I was never that organized to have a nickname like that, but I did. That is one thing I used to do.
What was your bag? Every meth addict has a little tool bag.
Yeah, my bag.
Drug addict has like a little kit.
You know, it was the equivalent of, you know, a crazy drug addict woman's purse. Like it was
a purse. Like what?
No,
did it look like?
You remember the Beastie Boys had that clothing company called X Large?
No,
they did, and it was a very kind of late 90s, early 2000s kind of thing. But I had this bag that I had forever.
Like a messenger bag?
Yeah, it was like a over-the-shoulder messenger bag, courier bag type thing. But it was camouflaged, and it had the X-Large logo on it. And but it was filled with just like pawn receipts and...
Pawn shop receipts?
Yeah, like, you know, the tickets they give you to get your shit out, which I never got my stuff out because I would just pawn like cherished items of mine, and then
did you lose stuff and not get it back?
Yeah, everything.
Do you think about any of the items today?
Not really. A lot of it was like music equipment, and I never really put that much importance on like the equipment itself. So like it sucks that I did that and I lost it, but none of it was ever like, oh, that's irreplaceable. It's like, yeah, I'll just get a different guitar.
What was the biggest and most like expensive thing you pawned? And how much money did you get for it?
Yeah, that's that's an embarrassing one because I had stolen my ex-boyfriend who I lived with for 5 years. I stole his mom, who had passed away, her gold necklace.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I still feel horrible about that. I have since, you know, made amends to him for that. You know, what he, you know, you're supposed to say like, what can I do for you? And he just gave me, you know, he's like, you know, he just put it at $1 amount, and so I paid it back. But
was it expensive?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got $400 for the pawn shop, so, and they only give you like a very small percentage of what it's actually worth. So yeah, that made, you know.
Was he pissed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was super pissed. Rightfully so. Like, you know, I'm sure he's still pissed at me, you know.
So you pawn everything in his house? Can you tell that story?
Okay, so you know,
you were living with?
I was living with my ex, you know, in Mount Washington, and you know, and to be clear, like, I was in love with this guy. Like, just because I was a drug addict and stealing from or what doesn't mean like I didn't have true feelings for him. So I was in love with him. He was in love with me. He was my first real love. But you know, drug addiction's crazy, especially when you're getting into stuff like, you know, cocaine and heroin. Like, you'll basically do anything to keep it going. And so I was very familiar with, you know, pawning stuff and you know, doing petty theft kind of stuff. And so he went on vacation, not vacation. He went to like France, and he invited me to go with him, and I was like, I can't go to France for a week. Like, I'm hopelessly addicted to heroin.
Did he know?
He didn't. I had gone to rehab.
How is that possible?
You know, maybe he was in denial, or
okay.
I was pretty good at hiding it too.
Yeah.
You know, I was good at fake. You know, he would, you know, sometimes like, you know,
he was
test my pee, and then like I would switch it up like when he wasn't looking, so
right.
to you know, anyway, like it, you know, it's not his fault for not seeing it. It's my fault for like trying to, you know, dupe him all the time. But so I pretended like, you know, I had lied to him and told him I had a day job, but really I would just kind of like leave at 10 in the morning and just go, you know, park this shitty car that I was driving, you know, a couple streets down, and then wait for my dealer to wake up.
Were you worried he would see you on the side of the street?
No, it was a weird windy road up in Mount Washington. So, Yeah, I guess I was worried, but I knew he wouldn't.
Did you get dressed like in a business outfit
not
with
in
a briefcase?
business, but I would dress up like business casual, and I'd be like, I'm going to work. And and I'd be like, then I'd go over there and I'd plot however I was going to get money that day, who I was going to rip off, or how I was going to hustle some money together.
That's a cool TV show.
Yeah.
That kind of character, like.
I guess, if, when you're living in it, it's not that.
Sorry.
Cool.
You know what I mean? It's interesting.
I find it offensive that you would say that about my very painful memories.
I'm so disgusting by living in Hollywood. I just see everything as a big picture.
Yes. But so and I knew that one of the things that you don't think about as until you are living a daily life as a drug addict is that like things like travel. You can't travel unless you're rich enough and brazen enough to sneak all the drugs you need for this entire trip with it, or someone in this city that can hook you up, and that's always iffy. So it's like. It was like travel was off the table unless it was just an overnight thing. So he's like, chance of a lifetime. I still have never been to Paris, but he's like, I'm going to Paris with, my friends. Like, I want you to come with me. I was like, I can't. I have work. Because I knew I wouldn't be able to have enough money to, or,
What did he think you did?
I was graphic. I told him I had a job being a graphic designer at
That's
some firm.
Good idea.
And, I was okay at graphic design, so it made sense. But so anyway, he went away for a week, and I was the day he left, I was like, that scene in Fight Club where he's looking around his apartment and everything has a dollar price on it. Like, I don't know.
I haven't seen the movie in forever.
Okay,
but
well, he's looking around his
talking.
apartment and everything has like an IKEA price tag.
Yeah.
So that was what it was like. As soon as he left, I looked around the house that everything had a price tag on. So
wow.
I gave 50 for that, 100 for that, blah, blah, blah.
Because you had been doing a little pawning at the time.
Well, I was very experienced with the pawning, and I knew what I could get. So I basically, every day that week, I would just take another big ticket item from the house and then pawn it. And my plan was like, I'll be able to pull off some big come up with money and be able to get it all out before he comes back, and he'll never be the wiser.
In a week.
Yeah.
You had a week.
Yeah. So, it's like the two flat screen TVs, like a brand new Dyson vacuum cleaner, laptop, like all kinds of stuff, jewelry. Was
there ever a moment when you're like, no, I can't do this? Or were you just like, oh yeah, perfect, this?
I was so hopelessly.
And I know that like you were, we'll preface by saying, of course you were on drugs, but like, did you have that first, did anything in your head be like, now I feel like I'm like a lawyer in court? Like being like, so was there anything that made you think I shouldn't have been doing this?
I knew it was always in the back of your head that like, this is bad what you're doing. But like, I was so far gone at that point. I had no moral compass anymore. I did have a moral compass. I just didn't care. But your eyes was on the prize. You're like, great, big screen TV. Yeah. Like I could get $500 for that. Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. Okay. And I was like, I'll totally be able to get it back before he gets back. And no, you can't get $500 for a flat screen. Maybe $50. Really? I don't know how it works. I've never been to a pawn shop. You get ripped off. But anyway, so, and I was just having a buffet of drugs every day from all that money I was getting, and I was like, this is great. And then it came to, I realized, oh shit, he's coming home tomorrow. And I was like, how am I going to stay well without getting sick from heroin withdrawal and also get all of his stuff out of pawn? Like, that's too much. So I came up with the bright idea of like, I'll just stage it like it's a break-in. How many things were gone? I don't know. It was I was looking around that place. It was pretty empty. It looked like the first day of someone moving in with like a box on the floor. There's stuff that pawn shops won't take, and trust me, I've tried to pawn any and everything, but they want electronics and jewelry. Did it look like furniture and like televisions and paintings were gone, and there was like a shadow of where it once was empty looking? You know what I'm talking about? It was kind of like that. So, and so, I was like, oh, man, he's coming home tomorrow. I have to pick him up from the airport using his car. Oh, my God. And so I was like, I got to make this look like it was a break-in. So I went and broke a window from the inside, like a novice, like you see that on Forensic Files or whatever. It's like, telltale sign.
The killer was inside.
Yeah. Like the glasses on the outside when it should be on the inside if you're breaking it from the outside. So anyway, I made that mistake. But so I pick him up from the airport and we drive back, and I had left the door ajar and one light on, like ominous, like, oh shit. So we get there and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't leave this door open. And then like he got super on edge from that, and then we go in and I do a Oscar-worthy acting job.
How was your act? It was incredible.
I was a great actor when I was on drugs all the time, because usually when I was acting, it was life or death. Like I needed to act.
High stakes, we call it.
Yeah, it was very high stakes. Like if I didn't pull this off, then I was going to get dope sick, and that's like, if anybody's ever experienced that, it's one of the worst things ever.
That's like
to go through. So
in our acting class, like that's like. It's like supposed to be like, if you don't get it, then what happens? And you're exactly like what you were doing, like is like what they teach us to do in our class.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just like it actually does something to your brain, like hardcore, especially opiate addiction, that where the idea of getting dope sick is like your brain processes it the same way as you would like, this will make me die.
Wow.
Like, so it becomes a real primal kind of, situation, at least the way it feels. It's like whenever you run out, you feel, it's the same kind of feeling. It's like, I'm in danger of dying. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how it felt. And, with those stakes, like, I become, fucking Meryl Streep at that point. So I pulled it off, and we made a fake police report, and
but a real one.
Well, yeah, it was
so
real.
Like you were like, oh my god, and he started running around the room, being like, everything is gone. So you're like, oh, call the cops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the cops came, and you told them, this is exactly what happened. And
I even said like, oh, I think someone came to the door earlier in the week, and I thought he was a solicitor, but like.
He was checking it out.
Yeah, I think maybe he was casing the joint.
You said joint?
I did not say joint, but
because
like,
when you're on drugs, you start using just like weird words.
You start using like crime lingo from the 40s, when you're on heroin.
And at that time, you for some reason
He's
had a trench.
The joint.
You had a trench coat on.
I did. I know. That's for real though. I used to wear during those times. I wore a fucking fedora and a trench coat everywhere.
Shut the fuck up.
Yes, I did. It was really.
Was there neon signs and shadows?
It wasn't. It was like I did. Like I wore. I
you
thought
wore you.
Yeah, I
you
wore
were
a fucking. I had a Michael Kors, like below the knee length trench coat that I would wear everywhere, and it, I thought it made me look like Paul McCartney in Winter in 1969, but I just looked like a crazy person. And I wore it with like a Justin Timberlake-esque fedora. Yeah, it was horrible.
I hate fedoras.
Horrible. Yeah.
Can you even look at a fedora today and not feel sick
horrible.
To your stomach?
Like, as soon as I got sober, I was like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
Like, sure, I hurt everybody around me, my family, my ex, and, I feel bad about that. But
the fedora shame.
The worst thing is the fedora shame. No, I'm kidding. But, like, that was pretty bad. It's like, what was I thinking? So, yeah, I made the police report, and,
You're like, he was coming around the back.
Yeah, he was coming around the back, see?
You had a cigar?
I think it was casing the joint.
Yeah.
That's so dumb. But so, yeah, and where was I with that? So,
then there was a newspaper article.
That was that. Yeah, someone wrote about it in the local, those little free newspapers you find in little towns, like at the grocery store. It's like the
local papes,
the Toluca Lake Times. It's like you can only get it in the 2-mile radius. One of those papers did a little crime mention about it happening.
And it had a picture of your face on it?
It did not. No. Yeah. But so, I got away with that, right?
And he completely believed you.
Yeah. I think he might have had some like little voice in the back of his head saying there's something weird about this, but I'm going to believe him because I love him and we're together.
And you had a huge penis. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. Just kidding. Sorry, Steven.
So that I felt like I got away with that, but I was still a junkie. Like it was still a daily struggle to get money. And a couple days later, like I was out and about, like trying to scam money together, and like I couldn't that day for whatever reason. So I came home around 1 p.m. under the guise of like, I'm coming home, honey, for lunch.
Yeah.
And I did that, and because I was like, I need to straight up steal cash from his wallet, and which is what I did, and I went back to quote work, and I got drugs. So like I came back later that night after quote work, and there was a note that was said, "I know," on the table, and the
ominous.
The door to the bedroom was locked, like with a new lock on it. Like it was
he changed the locks on
to the bedroom.
He changed the locks on your ass.
Yeah, kind of. I still got in the house, but like he put everything of value in this one room and like changed the locks on that room. And
is that the room you were also sleeping in?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
So and I called him, and I was like incredulous, like
it
what?
Just said I know.
Yeah, and I was like fuck. And I was like, what do you know? You don't know anything. I was like super angry.
Yeah.
Like a little
You've
brat.
never known anything in your life.
Yes. He's like, just spare me the whole thing. You need to be out of the house. Like, you can't be here anymore. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? He's like, I don't care what you do. You just have to leave. This has gone on too far. Long.
Sorry to interrupt. Isn't that crazy as a drug addict? Like, you're like, I'm just, like, because I know from my own experience, like, I can feel this relatable feeling where it's just like, I'm just going to push until it just is the end.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
And then when the end, it's like, okay, well, on to the next thing.
Yeah. That was basically, well, it was more of just me, like, never planning ahead. It's just like, it is always the search for how I'm going to feel good right now. And, like, because I'm so far gone already, I don't care what happens in the future. Like, if I die or if I get arrested, like, I don't care. So that happened, and it was, he was like, you need to be out of that. I'm coming back in the morning. You need to be out by then. But I wasn't. By the time he got back, I was just, like, lying on the couch, like, withdrawing. And,
my God. Because you're like, fuck it.
Yeah, I just did all my shit like in an hour after I got that note, and I, probably almost OD'd. But like he came back in the morning, and I was just sitting there like staring off in the distance on the couch, and he's like, get up, we're taking you to General Hospital downtown because I didn't have insurance or any way to pay, so like I went to the free hospital downtown and got, I told them what. I was addicted to cocaine, heroin, Valium, alcohol, and also taking Ambien every night. I was like, I was crazy addicted to like everything. And so they gave me some kind of benzo pill for like the withdrawal symptoms and then they sent me back to the waiting room, and I blacked out, and I woke up in restraints. Yeah, and I was like screaming at the nurses, like, please. I need a pair of scissors. Like I was begging them for a pair of scissors so I could cut myself out of the restraints. I don't know how I would have done it even if I got scissors, but I remember that clearly. I think what happened is like they took my belongings to put it away in preparation for me, getting a room there, like a hospital bed, and I think I probably attacked someone because I thought they stole my stuff because I forgot that they took it.
You were in like a whole blackout.
I was in like a total blackout thing.
Yeah.
And but that I think saved my life. Like that I got put on a 5150 psychiatric hold.
Where?
The USC General Hospital.
They had
downtown.
A psych department?
Yeah. It was super kind of
total twins in that.
Yeah. Yeah, so and then apparently after the first day, I found out it was actually 5250, which is a 10-day hold.
Ooh.
I've never done that before.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, now you're talking. So, but I credit that basically with saving my life. If I hadn't have gotten that 10-day hold, like they would have just kept me for 72 hours and then put me out on the street again. And, you know, I just would have gone back doing the same thing. The 10 days gave me time enough to really detox from the chemicals. And then, like, once the smoke started clearing, I was like, holy shit, what am I doing, man? Like, you know, I did a bunch of other kind of very dark stuff that I don't have time to go into. But, like, I was at the point where, you know, I was on the verge of, you know, dying, or at least doing something even more hardcore that I would always regret. So I was lucky enough to stay there for 10 days. And, you know, there was a counselor there that was, you know, I was one of his, you know, patients or whatever you would call it. And I was just ready to just do whatever they would tell me to do. Because I was like, the smoke cleared, I detoxed from the chemicals. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I haven't done anything I've wanted to do in my life. You know, this is now or never. Like, I'd been to rehab many times before, but this was like the lowest bottom I could think of at that point that I got to. And I just started listening to direction, like, from people that knew what they were talking about. So they were like, you need to go to, you know, a long-term, like, at least 90-day rehab. My first instinct, obviously, is like, no, 90 days.
Yeah.
Look at all that time I'm going to miss. But, you know, what time? Like,
yeah. How old were you at this point?
I was 30 at that point, I think. Yes. No, 31. I don't remember. I'm bad with math.
You're like, I have stuff to do. And they're like, what?
That's exactly. I was like, what about my life and my responsibilities, which I had none of either.
Yeah. You're like, my job.
The only thing I was truthfully concerned with is, like, I still wanted to hold on to my relationship, and I immediately felt horrible for everything I put him through. I was like, I need to fix that, because I really fucked this up and betrayed his trust, and, you know, just to do that to someone, you know, I still think about it, and it still kind of keeps me up at night sometimes that I, you know, put someone through all that, you know. And in any case, so I just started listening to everything they told me to do. Like, you know, go to this 90-day rehab. It's free if you're destitute like you are. If you can't afford anything, it's free for you, paid for by the county. So I ended up at this rehab up in, you know, the mountains above L.A., with a bunch of people, you know, mostly people straight from prison or jail. And, you know, I'd been to kind of like decent rehabs before where you share a room with one other person, or even you might get your own room. This place was like, it was like an army barracks, and there was 60 people in one room.
Really?
In bunk beds.
Is that where you were with Steve?
What do you mean?
Oh?
Oh, no.
Oh.
That was before.
Oh.
That was a nicer place. No, this was like, you know...
this was like the last
This is where
stop.
you go, yeah. This was like, you know...
the men's version of Claire.
Yeah. I get, it is kind of similar to that, yeah. That kind of thing. So it was called Warm Springs. It's not there anymore.
And it wasn't.
It was
Should've been Cold
it was a
Springs.
really neat like area, mountainous area. It was in like right around where Six Flags is, you know, in Valencia, but above in the little mountains over there. It was neat. You know, Tab and I, my husband and I, still, you know, go for drives around that area because it's very pretty. But like, you know, the place itself was just, you know, it was like a bunch of huge army barrack type rooms, and then like you know 60 to this big hall, and then, you know, sleeping in bunk beds. It's just a lot like, you know, county jail.
How long were you there for?
90 days, and it was the first time I really took recovery seriously. Before that, I was like, every time I ended up in rehab, I was like, I do want to get sober, but I just don't want to do the work that comes along with that. And, you know, eventually I would get out of rehab and I would relapse almost immediately.
Yeah.
And this is the first time where I was like, I really have a chance to turn my life around and to do the things I want to do and achieve goals that I've had since I was a kid. And it's like now or never. I'm 30 years old. Like, what am I doing? I've wasted my entire 20s, you know, valuable time just being a shithead. So, I took it very seriously there. Like there's a lot of, any rehab situation, especially that one, there's always like a bad element. And like, if I wanted to do drugs in rehab, which I did many times before, found ways around the urine tests and kicked out for faking urine tests before and all that kind of stuff. And trying to see what I could get away with. This is the first time in a rehab situation where it's like, I don't want to see what I can get away with. I want to do this the right way. Got really, into the big book and, started reading that and every day and linking up with like-minded people there, several of which are still sober also today, which is amazing. And just out of there, like my counselor at the rehab was like, so what's your exit plans? What are you going to do? And I was like, I don't know. What should I do? And he's like, you need to go to sober living based on your history. Like, you should live at sober living for at least 6 months to a year before, living on your own again. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. I was like, I want to find a sober living that's near a subway stop and is near a rehearsal studio. And my counselor there was also a musician. So he's like,
oh, cool.
Chandler Lodge, North Hollywood, it's the perfect place. It's literally walking distance from both a rehearsal studio and a subway stop in North Hollywood. So I was like, yeah, I'll go there.
Awesome.
I got there. I was able to, Steven picked me up from that place and drove me back to North Hollywood, and where I checked into Chandler Lodge, and I was able to pay for it through a grant from the Music Cares program.
Wow.
Which they do a lot of cool stuff for musicians in recovery. And
that's so cool.
Yeah. So they paid for my first 6 months living there. For the rent, and that was a rough experience living there just on its own, just like bed bug scares and stuff. But the place was great because they were very serious about recovery. It was kind of, wasn't the nicest place, but at least, they didn't let people. Yeah, there was a lot of structure. They didn't let people get away with shit, which is what I needed. And, I just kind of started building my life up from there. I moved, up in the ranks of that place until I had my own bedroom and in a house in the back, which was a lot nicer than where I started there, and got a job. Around that time, they say don't get into a relationship in your first year. Mm-hmm. I went against that, and
didn't we all?
Yeah. So I met my husband Tab.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like,
But how much time did he have?
Oh, I'll tell you. So, It was funny because I was hanging out with Steven again. Steven was sober, and he was hanging out with sober people and new friends like Dodd, who and Bill Posley and stuff. So I was always kind of like hanging out with them, and just everybody was keeping out of trouble and doing cool stuff. And they had that sketch group back then called ASAP, which was really fun. And I was in a couple of videos for them. And I remember one of these video shoots that they had. Dodd, who Steven features on his podcast now, he's gay, obviously, and he had told me, this was in 2011 or 2012, and Grindr had just come out. He's like, you gotta try this app. It's called Grindr. I was like, what? What is that? He's like, dude, he didn't say dude, he doesn't say dude, but he was like, it's amazing. Like, you could just hook up, it's a total hookup app. It's super easy just to hook up with guys on this. I was like, okay, I downloaded it. I kind of lurked around on there for a couple weeks, and that, I'm super picky about my type, so I didn't meet up with anybody.
What's the type? Bears? Otters?
Nah, just kind of like, I'm into older, guys, just more of like a normal guy look to them.
Like plain daddies?
Yeah, kind of.
I just want to put a fun name on it.
If you had to put a name on it.
Aren't there like a lot of fun little...
Yeah, like the guy you see in your neighborhood mowing the lawn, like that's usually the type of person I'm attracted to. So...
like a TV sitcom dad.
Yeah, for sure. Totally. So
who was your first crush, really quick? Like a TV crush or movie star crush?
I never
as a kid?
had TV crushes ever, really.
Oh, really?
Until I got sober, then I had some. Like I think Nick Offerman, aka Ron Swanson.
Oh, right.
Parks
I knew
and
that you
Recreation,
liked him.
Like he's
Okay.
He's amazing. Like, he's like, if you need to know my type, like, that's my
look.
type. But even more so is, my type would be my husband, I guess.
Tab.
Tab is actually better looking than Nick Offerman.
Aw.
But in terms of, celebrities, like, he's one I think is very attractive. But, so yeah, and I had this Grindr app, and the world was my oyster, and I was, newly sober and unattached, and I could be like, oh, I'm just going to have sex a lot now. Mm-hmm. And Tab was the first person I met on Grindr, and the last person I met on Grindr.
Wow.
And, years later, we got married, so that's how good I was at playing the hookup game.
Yeah.
Like, I married the first guy I met on there. But I was so lucky,
What was the first meeting? Like, what did you guys do?
We just hooked up.
It was the meet to hook up.
Yeah, we barely talked, and I didn't even know what his first name really was until like the second or third time we got together.
Oh yeah, I think I remember hearing that.
So we didn't even talk the first two times.
You just immediately started undressing.
Yeah. I mean,
it sounds like
with gay hookups, that's how
right.
It is. Like if you both know what you're doing. When you're just doing it to hook up.
It's like we
so
don't
you
need
get
to.
there, you just immediately start undressing.
Have you ever
maybe say a few like, "Hey, how was your day?" And then
have you ever been to a glory hole?
Yes.
Really? Where are they?
I've never like participated in one, but I've seen them and I've been curious about it. But I don't know, that kind of stuff is a little,
Wait,
dirty.
Where did you see it?
They're all over. They have them, department stores and
what?
Yeah, like just
in LA.
Like city colleges.
Really?
Yeah.
Where? Like there's a hole in a wall.
There's like a website that you could go to that tells you where all these places were.
Oh my god!
I never really used it, but like I always thought I used to show it to my friends because I thought it was funny that like they have this like website that logs all the gay hookup places.
Yeah,
but.
Like tell you which steam room or which
go to this Macy's. And,
what was that? There was that like really fun place. That was like there I guess used to be a bunch of places and probably still are on Santa Monica.
Yeah, like that I know of a few of them.
Yeah,
Dodd was a big
like they're like water houses or some
houses,
No, I mean, well, I know bathhouse, but it was like something else. I don't know why I said water house. I don't know why I said that. I was thinking like an indoor, like Raging Waters indoors.
Mm.
Okay, I'm making it up. I think I just imagined what I thought it would look like.
Like water slides.
Yeah.
And then you suck
but
dick
everyone's
at the
just
same
fucking.
time. Yeah. No.
Okay, sorry, I sidetracked you.
But
as usual.
Yeah. No, that whole scene, like there's a lot of people that are into it. I don't know. Like the whole idea of a glory hole to me is like I like to see the person's if I'm gonna, hook up with somebody, like I wanna see their face. Like that's part of it for me.
Yeah.
It's like the way they look and the way they their voice sounds and like, the glory hole is just like it's like you put your, someone puts a dick.
Okay, so that's like for the mysterious guy.
Well, it's not even that. It's like there's a lot of like maybe sexually confused guys that will go there. And and like kind of fantasize that it's a girl on the other side, but it never is. It's always a guy. You people out there, it's always a guy. But it's just it's just not my scene. It was kind of gross, but evidenced by the fact that. I married the first guy I met on a hookup app. So, but the more I got to know him, when we actually started talking, I realized that he's also in recovery.
Wow.
And he had a month less than I had sober, but he had long-term sobriety before, and we just started kind of taking it super slow because we were both. Newly sober again, so we didn't want to rush into anything. So we took it super slow and casual. Mm-hmm. And just over the years, it just became really a strong relationship until the point where, years later, we proposed to each other.
At the same time.
At the same time, yeah. On Christmas, a couple years ago, we had both gotten each other engagement rings. as the last gift we were going to give to each other Christmas morning. And I was like, I have this. And he's like, oh, well, I have this.
That is so cute.
Yeah, that was almost disgustingly cute.
That is so cute. Imagine you're like, I have this, and he's like, I have this, and you both thought it was engagement rings, but it was just like an ugly sweater, or just like a shitty present.
Yeah. No, that was amazing.
I can't believe that. That is such an amazing story.
It was very, It was you can't plan shit like that. But
wow.
But yeah, it was the first relationship that I ever like approached from a healthy place of being in recovery and being sober and actually worrying about, is this the right thing for me and my future and stuff, or do we work well together, you know? And so we took it very slowly. You know, he kind of was taking it slower than I was because I was less experienced and, I was, probably sooner than him ready to just jump into being super serious about it. But I'm glad we didn't because it allowed us to kind of just build up a very strong foundation over the years of, trust and just truly knowing each other and just a comfort around each other. And it's, it sounds cheesy and cliche, but every day, like, I feel my love for him growing just a little bit every day. Like, it's in the beginning, when it first started getting serious, I lived in a fear of that, like, will I just one day wake up and not have these feelings anymore? Or will he, and I was scared of that. But, like, the more foundation you build in these things and, keeping communication open at all times and really, bending over backwards when you can for the other person. And then if you're both doing that for each other, if you're both bending over backwards for each other, like, you can only go up, So really, truly every day, my love for him grows stronger. And, I think he feels the same way. I
totally.
From what he tells me, I feel that he does. I mean,
of course.
His love is like so unconditional that, sometimes it makes me a little bit uncomfortable because, like, I'm just, most of my life just used to things not working out or me fucking something up by being an idiot or whatever. And just the fact that, I have his unconditional love, sometimes it's a little, it can be a little bit too much for me to handle or accept, but as the years go on, I've gotten a lot better at accepting it, and for me,
you deserve it.
Well, yeah, that's that's not obvious to me, and it's still a struggle to admit that to myself. I do deserve it, but even just saying that right now, it's like, no, there's a voice in the back of my head that says, no, you don't. You're a piece of shit. You're still that piece of shit that ripped off your ex and did all those terrible things to him, and probably ruined his trust for anybody in the future. Like, you're still that. That's what my brain tells me. Is like, you're still that guy.
I think everyone has that in some form or another. I mean, we were literally just talking about it right before we started.
Yeah. No, I mean, and it goes just creatively into my music and in my career in music and stuff. That's voice is always there as well. It's like, this person sent you a message saying that, they really love your music and it's, really brightened their life. And I was like, well, they're probably just saying that. They don't really mean it. Like, how could something this defective person, how could something I did, change someone's life for the better? Like, I still have a hard time accepting that, and
do you do any sort of things to try to counter that?
Well, yeah, but I mean, being in recovery helps a lot, and talking about it like we are now, and therapy. I'm not actively going to therapy right now, but I have gone to therapy for that exact reason in the past. It's like, help me be okay with
being okay.
Yeah, exactly. Just accepting the fact that you do deserve a good life, and sure, you've made mistakes in the past, but that doesn't mean you're doomed to live a life of misery. Like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You could turn your shit around, which, I did and I'm still in the process of doing. But,
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, but that voice in the back of your head is a killer. Like, you know, it definitely helps. Like, you know, even right now, me talking about it helps me. You know, it's just like anything. Like you have these crazy thoughts in your head, and you know, you don't think they're crazy because they're so ingrained in who you are. And the moment you write it down or tell another person, when it's coming out, you're like, wow, that sounds so
loses
stupid.
power.
Well, it's like you realize, like, wow,
I know
I'm
this sounds
stupid,
crazy. Yeah.
you know, for thinking this.
Yeah.
And I am, you know, it's like that. What am I like? Why am I holding on to this crazy thing? You know, which is that's I think that's one of the most powerful things about recovery too, is that, you know, you're taking the power away from these super dark things inside of you by telling another alcoholic about this shit you did, and then they'll like, oh yeah, that reminds me of the time I did this, and you're like, wow, I'm not alone. Like there's other people that, you know, did these shitty things and are also living in regret today, but you know, through the community and you know, support of people around you, like you can get over these things, you know. But
I love that. Well, Casey, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
For coming on.
Sorry, did we go too far?
No, I just have to be at work at 6:45. Okay. But everything was really good that you're saying. I didn't want to stop. And yeah, and we all need to hear that. Thank you so much. And I know everyone who listens feels exactly the same way, you know, maybe today or at some point did. So it's important to talk to people. And, you know, I'm just reiterating exactly what Casey said, pretending I came up with it.
No, it's, I mean, you know that you're doing it too. So
yeah,
I mean, you know how it is. But, you know, I think it is important that people, you know, listening and stuff,
don't hold it in.
Yeah, don't. Like, find someone. Find, you know, if you're dealing with addiction or anything like that, like, you know, find a 12-step program that works for you or a non-12-step program that works for you. Just find something that works for you that's healthy. Mm-hmm. Or if you're dealing with depression, you know, see a therapist and get help. You know, it's out there. You can turn your life around. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And where can we find you on social media, and where can we get your music?
Social media is at all one word Adult Karate. So that's at Adult Karate on Instagram. I don't really use Twitter a lot, but I'm on Twitter and Facebook at Adult Karate. My personal Facebook page, which I post some content there too, is the letters K.C. Maloney, Maloney. If you want to friend request me there or just follow me on there, like I post I mostly post on Facebook and Instagram, but and then you could find my music on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, any digital streaming outlet, and some record stores have my latest album on vinyl available. Latest album is called Del Mar. And that's. And
you perform in LA locally?
Yeah, I perform locally. I have I don't know when this is airing, but I do
Wednesday.
Okay, yeah. So I have a show on what is it? July 8th. Let me see. Sorry, no, July 9th at Skinny's in North Hollywood.
Come check it out.
Hour-long set. That's the only show that I have confirmed at the moment, but there will be more. So yeah, check my shit out, yo.
And check out his music video Solo that I am featured in on YouTube.
Chelsea stars in my music video for the song Solo from a couple years ago, and directed and co-written by your husband and my best friend, Stephen Randolph.
Wow.
That was before you guys were romantically involved. I don't know.
Yeah,
do you remember
was.
that?
Yeah.
There was always that electric sexual tension always when you guys got together.
Wait, and what's the name of my new favorite song?
From the Dust, yeah.
Check out From the Dust as well on YouTube or...
Yeah, anywhere. YouTube. All my music's on YouTube. All my music is anywhere.
It's so good. I love it. It's amazing. Okay, cool. Rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. Thank you guys for listening. Bye.
Thank you.